Here, come check out how pretty the snow is. Look at that. Snow's pretty. Out here beneath the construction site. I might want to drop that accent. I didn't think that sounded very good, did I? What did I say? Yeah, it's not going to be a great day. This is going to be a subdued affair. This is Friday. On some date in March or May. Because it's raining a little bit, I'm going to just stick right underneath the train track. And that, that's just, as a concept, it's not a bad make a video where you just walk underneath the SkyTrain. Probably have to point it out quite a bit. I don't want anyone around here to get the feeling that I've been filming. Like, that's just no joke. I don't want it. And just because I wouldn't want somebody around walking around here filming me either. So, I'm not going to film much. I'm going to just film up in the air. Should we go on a SkyTrain? We could go for a SkyTrain ride rather than walk underneath the SkyTrain, but we all know what we're going to do already. So, it's a foregone conclusion. When you are a nut. But that's not going to change it. I think that if people are walking away from me, it's okay. It's fun to watch people. There's this big guy getting on the bus, after whatever. He looks like a secretary or something, kind of thing. Office worker, but he's huge. Not that I've ever seen him before. So the restaurants are full of people looking out the window at you. We got a Dawn Air of Uncle Fatty's Pizza. Yeah, we got poutine. I think those guys won't care. Much gang of Chinese guys. It seems like what happens here around here is that people hang out in groups usually. Like you don't actually see people walking around by themselves that much. Not right around here, and it feels really dangerous. Like, because it is. Like the first day that I came here, right across the street here, there was this guy, and it was like, really early in the morning, like 5:30. In the morning, and he was laying there with his pants off, laying down in the rain at 5:30 in the morning, bitter cold day. Like that was rough. And so over here, this used to be the homeless shelter kind of place where they all came to dry out, and apparently it was just a hellhole place, right? Which is so ridiculous because it should be a swimming pool. So we lost a swimming pool to the junkies. Can you imagine that? Losing a swimming pool to the junkies. I mean, fucking ridiculous. And that really hurts, right? And I think that you'd be surprised how often that's the case, is that we can't have nice stuff because there's the criminal types. There's a small, there's a small number of people commit most of the crimes. And we can't manage to get them help anywhere in a secure location, if you know what I mean. We fail at that. That's pretty basic. That's really basic failure. And so now the interesting thing, this is going to be a rat's nest for sure, is these inquiries into election interference. That's really, really bad. Really, really bad, because to explain that in the shortest sentence that I can think of anyways, is that what happened is that Justin Trudeau and a lot of them around him knew perfectly well that there was Chinese interference in the 2019, 2021 elections for sure, and probably 2015. Like they knew, but it benefited them. They knew perfectly well because it was their job to know, and it did happen. So they knew it was happening. They even talked about it quite a bit, but they didn't do anything about it. Nobody was arrested. Nobody was deported. Nothing happened. They just let it happen. There was there was a massive disinformation campaign on WeChat that came directly from the Chinese Communist Party. And it was hugely influential. Like, everybody uses it. If everybody's using this thing to communicate all the time, and it's set up by the Chinese Communist Party, then you can be sure that they manipulate the information, right? I mean, it's that bad. It's that bad. They were lying about, they said, I can't remember his first name, Chio, I think, and he was in Richmond. He was a conservative guy, and he lost because they lied and said that he wanted to make some change in the education system that would make it harder to go to university or something like that. But it was just a lie. But it really mattered because a lot of them are students, right? So they lied about that, and they wouldn't have given fair coverage anyway, right? Like, just a total smear job. It's awful. And the thing is that the Chinese voted for those people. Let's not forget that. Like, I totally agree when they say that, this is the Chinese Communist Party and not the Chinese people in Canada. But let's face it, they voted for them. They voted for the Liberals. Twice or 3 times. It's really bad. We seem to have lost sight of where we were going. Earlier we were thinking about making a video about what it's like underneath the railroad tracks. That's what we were gonna do. And then we forgot for a while, and it's still raining, so probably this isn't a very good idea. It's not raining very much. It is raining a little bit. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna give her up here, right around here. Unless I could get it, if I could make it to the railway tracks without, kind of make it like flying, can't you? Just go higher up. Okay, where's the... There it is. Yeah, I didn't do it. No, I did not see it. I bet that looked fantastic. So, this doesn't look that great. I mean, this is about as bad as this place gets. It's not the weekend yet, and it's just crummy weather. Yeah, this is really, really bad. This place is, sometimes kind of hopping. I mean, it's definitely hopping. It's a scene. That's what when I was coming down here today, I was thinking about it. It's a scene, It's got a distinct vibe. There are a lot of scenes, and a lot of the scenes are so similar to each other, it's kind of ridiculous. But this is a different scene. It is just a different scene. And it's because of the diversity. Not just diversity of like things that are observable, whatever. But diversity of thought. There's a great deal of diversity of thought here, I would say. I think India is sending us some very nice people. That's what I think. I don't know if India's sending us, but So I hope you're enjoying the show. I am freezing my hands off. So you better appreciate it. Yeah, so for like, I don't know how many years, it's been like 10 years, they've been accepting assistance from the Chinese Communist Party. Definitely. And no heads rolled. They still started even questioning whether or not it even happened. Like, that's what I heard them say today, you know. There's no bottom with these people. There's no bottom. They can get more ridiculous all the time. Because right now what they're saying after everything has come out about what's been going on, you know, with all the bribery and corruption, and I should know the specifics, but like businessmen would hire Chinese people to come and work for them in Canada. And what they would do is go to work as Liberal campaign workers. Right? That's the Chinese Communist Party set this all up. For people to pose as students, but actually be working for the Liberal Party. It's that bad. How much worse could it get? I mean, and that's just one thing. That's just one thing. It gets a little bit salacious, so you get cold and tired. You might as well talk about something salacious. So one of the things that they had was this a color-coded system for attack, essentially, because what happened was is that the visa office would give the party a heads up when you know, kind of important business people, political people were coming to China. And I don't know the colors, but like, let's say blue was you were ripe for bribery. I think that's what it was. It's pretty nice, actually. So, you know, blue is ripe for bribery. So it's businessmen and politicians and stuff, right? And then there was another one that's honeypots. And a honeypot sting is when they stick a luscious thing at you, like a really luscious things. You got nice looking women, and they're hard to resist. And so the idea is, you know, you're going to get implicated in a relationship with this sex kitten, and it might, you know, be damaging to your marriage or whatever, right? So they twist your arm that way. Like this is they had color-coded schemes for this. It's like a business plan, whatever, you know what they call it. It was this operational system. Okay, blue, this guy gets a blue and a gray. There's three different things. I think there was actually like ideological subversion or something. Like they actually thought they didn't found somebody was stupid enough to actually agree with their ideology. Maybe that's what it was, or maybe I'm just making that up to make it sound more dramatic. But yeah, so they're talking about it on the news today, and one of them asked the other, aren't you a little surprised by how seriously some Canadians seem to be taking this issue? You know, is it because it's not a big deal, you know? And the other goes, yeah, I am surprised. You know, why are they taking it so seriously? The Chinese Communist Party of China interfered and corrupted and paid off and smeared and schmooed, and I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous what happened. They spread misinformation all over the place. They intimidated people. They forced students to commit fraud and vote in the election, or they would lose their student visas. So students were forced to do that. Like, are you catching on at all? You know, this is so bad. But the Trudeaus have always had a soft spot for China. I mean, Trudeau Pierre went there and wrote a book about it, his experience there. He went with his buddy there and had a grand old time in China. Kind of acted like a couple of kids. sneaking away from the guide to see the real China and stuff like that. Being a little snotty towards Chinese people, it seemed to me. Oh, they're French, right? They're better than anybody. Yeah, and then Pierre Trudeau took Alexander and Justin to China, and what happened was that they behaved a bit foolishly. His father said that in the past they looked at Europeans and said that we were barbarians, and now you've come here and acted like barbarians and really kind of shamed them for it. Right? Fucking. You know, they're roughhousing around and stuff, and I think, kind of sustained some injuries and stuff. I think that they were pretty. That'd be funny to find out what that was about. Like, if there was some film of Justin and Alexander fighting. Oh, that'd be fucking hilarious. And getting injured. What would you pay for a film like that? That's like gonzo journalism, right? There's nothing happening, so you go out there and make something happen. I think that's what I want to be, a gonzo journalist. Give myself a title, do something. So what else happened? You know, there was the Cho guy, I don't know his name, he was a conservative candidate, and yeah, they lied about him. They said that he was going to make it, cause some difficulty for students there. It's just like total nonsense. There's no way he's going to do that. Cho, I think his name, I think he's from China, and he doesn't speak English that well. He's Chinese, right? It's not like he's some hostile person to the Chinese community. Well, I think that they elected him the term previously. So. And I think it was the councillor or something from Vancouver bragged about getting that. Like, that's how obvious it was. And there was one, I don't know what that woman's name is, but there's one kind of thick-set blonde one. And my God, she is a terror. She is a terror. She's still casting doubt on all of it. She knew perfectly well what was happening the entire time. It was her job to know. Just put it like that simply. If that was happening, she didn't know. Then she didn't do her job. That woman needs to be put in her place. She's really, really nasty. I'm saying what I'm saying. She knew that it happened. And she let it happen, even though it was her job to prevent it. That's the allegation, right? This is what we're talking about.
Walked out of like the fucking.
Yes, and so they're resisting efforts to have a public inquiry when everybody knows it's necessary. That's just it. Everybody knows it's necessary, and they're just kind of dawdling along, trying to get us lost in the weeds. What that happens is, like, you watch the mainstream coverage, and it's not that long before it kind of drifts into a la-la land. Like, they don't seem to comprehend what serious issues are at play, and then start divert you with meaningless details, so you get overwhelmed and bored. Seriously, that's what it looks like to me. That's such an insidious propaganda. It's just dealing with the news like you're a twit, like a real idiot. Dangerously idiotic, I would say. Like they actually said, isn't it surprising? They thought about it for a while, right? Isn't it surprising? There's so many Canadians that are interested in this. Like, what's going on? It's a big deal. They're actually talking about that. And then they'll do, of course I was exaggerating or whatever, probably do that sort of routine. I've never seen that, but whatever. Yeah. It's not one of those things. This one's going to be nice though when it opens up. Yeah, so there's a lot of construction sites. So you're living in like this. But I mean, I would rather live with this than a lot of kind of corny ass streets sometimes. There's just a lot of stuff happening. Right? There's a Jollibee over there. Apparently that's a really good burger or something. They line up. Especially Asian people really love it. I think it's Mexican or Japanese or something. Such ugly light. But I think it still looks kind of cool. Yeah, like there's a lot of construction, and it's gonna get worse, I'm pretty sure. If you went, say, it's hard to say where the center is. I think that the geographic sort of center of Surrey Central would be somewhere between Surrey Central Station and King George Station. Like you'd have to, that's where the middle of it, because the way that it spreads out, right? You can't say that that the mall or that Surrey Central is the middle, because it's not, because there's just so much more on the other side. I mean, West Village is kind of on the outskirts, which is cool in its own kind of way, but it's not like where the action is. The actions are around here. It's around a lot of places around here. It's like they planned a bomb. Right? But it's not a destructive bomb, it's a constructive bomb. They're gonna boom, just create all this infrastructure. I think that it'll be the tallest residential housing in Canada when the one's built at Surrey Central. It's 657 feet high. I don't know, maybe Toronto has condominiums higher than that. I would imagine Toronto would, but it's just not what I heard. Yeah, I was really dumb because I could have just jumped on the 321 for $2 and taken the bus here. I'll take the bus back. It's kind of nice, and I found a really nice place actually. Like it's not anything, it's just the residential streets, but. It goes really quickly from a lot of big buildings and stuff to like a kind of a country lane, and then there's a bridge, there's a creek, so you go across the creek and you're in Differentville. It's really different and nice, really tasteful old houses. Like, there's ones that's so tasteful that you can hardly see it. Like, it's really nice. I think this is the nicest place I found in Surrey so far. So there's a bridge over the creek, and I was there for high water for sure. Because some of then there was a bunch of houses that their lawns went down to the creek, so people got to live right beside the creek. You know, it's just nice to see people get to do that. Yeah, one of the houses, so like the road runs parallel to the creek, so that's why you can have houses along the creek. And probably from the road that runs parallel to the creek, there's, it's a bit of a hill. So if you just go downhill a little bit, you can't see your house. You can still see your house. You can definitely see your house, but you can make your house shorter just by going a little bit further from the road, which you want to do anyway. And so what some of them did, like, seriously, this old houses in there that they look to me like they're probably really huge, but maybe doesn't have the greatest windows. That's what I would say. That's what I would bet. Except for at the front by the creek, then they'd probably have huge windows. That's what I bet. That's what I'd guess. Yeah, but from the road you can hardly see it. Those great big trees in front of it. Really, that is so cool. What a fantastic place. Like, it's a street where you could tell that I think that the neighbors maybe had inspired each other. Like, you put in one good one and that inspires one person. Now you got two, it's even more inspirational. And it just, if you get a little boom that way. That was a little boom happened over there. Only about 10 houses, but it's really nice. They could have built any style houses that they wanted, and they went with really, really tasteful ones, really understated things. But when you looked at them, they're actually quite charming and beautiful architecture. The whole street's like that. It's my little Magicville. Could be going there now, but I don't think so. It's too far from here. This is King George. Like, King George is a pretty neat street because it goes an awful long way. Can you get any sense now? There's no way, so I would say that right now I could probably see about 5 miles because King George goes down a hill and then it just disappears. You can't see it for like a big chunk. It must be a kilometer or two. You can't see it at all. It disappears down into this valley, and then it comes up the other side. It comes up the other side and goes up the hill for quite a ways, so you can see. It's quite close. Like, if you drove there, you'd have to go down the hill and then back up the hill. That's a long ways away. I bet it's 5 miles. I bet it's 5 miles drive, 5 miles actually distance that you can see. I don't know. I don't spend much time judging long distances by sight. I have more experience for that. I'd like to do something more practical like that. Not doing all this intellectualizing. It's bad for your brain, they say. There's a new study came out that said intellectualizing causes cancer. This feels so dangerous. Oh, fuck. Really? Okay, that's rough. That's what they're gonna like. I don't like this. Like, King George, I think I counted in some places it's 10 lanes wide. King George is 10 lanes wide, and it goes forever. It must narrow down as it passes Newton. It would, be a lot less hectic, I think. Well, it's a lot less hectic because then it goes down into another valley, and it's a really seriously good amount of farming and good farming that happens down there. So it's just really, if you ever want to get the feeling you're down on the farm, that's a good place to go. and I've started getting off there. Like, I don't know. It seems like people don't actually talk much about traveling good distances by bus. You know what that's actually like. That's something stupid, where you have 4 hours or something like that. Forget that. Buses are good when you're in a city. I'd rather fly than do it. Flying's the best. I don't care if it's, not very far. I'd rather fly. Definitely rather fly if you can afford it. Just don't go. Like if you have a place to live that keeps you intrigued, then you just don't have to go very far. And it's confusing, isn't it? Because I'm on the one hand saying that you travel a good distance. That's what the whole conversation is about. And then I just said that you don't go very far. So, there's something wrong there. There's another pile of snow. Snow was fun. I had a good time with snow this year. Yeah. Thank you, snow. Always good for fun. But for sure. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I did. Some blackberries. They should figure out some way to yank them up and grab the berries on the way. They could have people working on them. Another problem is you couldn't pay them very much, which would mean absolutely forget it. Pay them well. That means if you could do that, like, let them organize it. Don't tell them how to do it. Just say to somebody, okay, I'll give you so much to clean out this junk, and see if you can find somebody that's good. There's a lot of little creeks in Surrey. I mean, there's so many that, like, you just come across them. You never saw it on the map. Yeah, and this is a good one too, because I actually have a sort of a story associated with this one. Not much of a story. I just talked to this construction worker. Actually, I think I talked to him twice. Because the thing is if you go to a construction site, then the vibe is just a little bit more intense. It's just sort of notched up a bit. And so this guy was running some sort of a tractor. I don't know what it was exactly, but a big thing. And so I'm filming it. And I think that he got off and came and talked to me. And asked me what I was doing. I wasn't trying to get him. I was just trying to get the machine. Like, washing heavy-duty machinery is really amazing. I wanted to get it on tape. That's what I was filming. I didn't film him. I don't film people. Except, sometimes. Anyway, I didn't film him. And he comes over and asks me what I'm doing, and I said I was filming the truck and the tractor. Like, it's like toys for me, big boy toys. That's what I was doing, and he said, well, you don't really have permission. La-di-da. And I agreed with him, I didn't have permission. But I have nowhere to ask, no one from whom to ask permission. So I was confused. That was my dilemma. So we considered that for a while. Various other things. And it was a bit of it was good that he was on the other side of the fence, because then I felt stronger. I felt like I could get away from it. But it worked out okay. I mean, I was good to talk to him, and actually, life got complicated, and it had gotten complicated before I ran into him the next time. Right? Like, pretty interesting story. I don't think that I should share it publicly. It would be complicated. It's a fight I'd love to have, but I don't have the courage or the foolhardiness. These people that go after the woke culture, man, they are foolhardy. They're a foolhardy bunch. So here we got nurseries and florists and interim reports. Interim reports from March 6 to 10. Wow, I have to mark that on my calendar. Interim reports, March 10 to 11. 6 to 10. Flesh, flowers, and plants. Bulbs now in, nursery and florist. And they're open. By golly, I think we should go check them out after we do kind of a zoom in on this bus. Yeah, go bus. Yeah, that was good. Thanks. That was great. For real. So can you see how far it is down? Not really, right? Not at all. I could walk out on the road a bit, like, there you go. Yeah, no, you can't see that far now. No, it's not far. But it's quite a ways. It's a really neat street, but there's a better one. There's one. I have to try to figure out. I have to figure out the topography of Surrey so I can figure this out, because there's an area of Surrey that's fairly high, and then there's an area of Surrey that's pretty much at sea level, and there's a road that goes down there that is just so neat because the road's quite high. It's not like a mountain or anything, nothing like that. It's a big hill, but the road goes downhill, but not that fast. So it's just it's a straight downhill road that goes on forever, and it's downhill, definitely downhill. And then you land at the bottom, and it's like there's a lot of, it's sort of an estuary, sort of. Well, it isn't an estuary. That's what it is. So I guess that's what it's like. Things tend to be like the things that they are. Does that make sense? Things tend to be like the things that they are. I don't have a car, so Surrey Central Station, 321, and I've arrived at my destination. Okay, the bus is coming. Yeah, this is hello. So the whole trip now is to have $2.10, because if I don't, I have to borrow it from this guy. He looks like he probably has $2.10. I would bet that guy has $2.10. He just strikes me as that kind of guy. Yeah. Do we have it? What do we have there? We have $2.05. Plus $2.10, that makes $2.10. $2.05 and $2.10 makes $2.10. The logic is inescapable. And this is not my bus. It's the good bus. It's the fast bus. I dragged on that. You should try to stay right out in front of the vehicle. Yeah, so we'd rather walk than talk, so let's see if we can make it down to the next station. I don't see it, so I'm not going to walk down there. Like this is really long street. Yeah. Maybe I've run out of things to film, I think. I mean, unless you're interested in the suburbs. Which is the most attractive thing to me. But like as I mentioned earlier, there was a place just on the outside of the hospital district. There's big buildings that kind of feels like it's all money. And yeah, there's just this totally neglected road that runs up the street from them. And the road that goes over a bridge, it's really neat because it goes over this creek. It might be that creek right there, actually. Probably be interesting to explore the creeks. I've already done it a bit. The bigger ones, anyway. Like the Nicocomo or whatever. Oh, there's the next station. I can make it. Wow, the stations are close together. But it doesn't matter because nobody gets off at them. That's how they could do it. Like, you'll see that you'll look at a line and it has a stop in less than a minute. So 50 seconds, 59 seconds, 65 seconds, 49 minutes, I'm sorry, to go from one station to another. 49 seconds. So, there's no way they could do that if they stop. So that's how that works out here. It's kind of neat to know that. So obviously it's a good idea. Yes, this is lighting up a bit now, isn't it? You can see all the headlights coming down there. It'll be interesting. Maybe on a really huge screen you will be able to see King George. I really like how industrial it is here. There's industrial strength stuff all over the place. Like these hydro lines and the train lines. The train lines are just so, they feel adventuresome for me. With the sense of adventuresomeness and kind of monstrosity. I mean, if you get too close to trains, you realize these things are big and heavy and hard. Bad combination. Does not combine well with the human frame. That's the scary thing about it. But if you're not too anxious, then you can just sort of appreciate it. Like as it rolls, it depresses the track that it's on. So the ground actually gets shrunk when the train rolls over it. The thing is heavy. You can't get away from it. It's just a massive thing. Trains is cool. I try to stay away from them. It's not like I spend a lot of time looking for them, but I do find a lot of traffic. I actually do run into a lot of trains. I mean, this is serious train. What's the dimension to it? I really like it. Yeah. I think that I'm a good way of the way to a big park. There's a big park down there. There's two, actually. I've only been to one. I went to the one that was a creek, and that was nice. It might have been the creek that we just saw earlier. I don't know. I kind of doubt it, though. No, I doubt it. Because the creek that I was at was bigger even in the summer, so... Yeah, kind of dry weather. There's still quite a bit of water. Quite a bit of water, and there's no water in the one down here. It was just soft. There's some. It was going pretty quick. But no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I could be wrong. Yeah, you get the feeling that you're gonna go on an expedition across the Arctic. This looks a lot like the Arctic. Or the tops of mountains. It's pretty much the same thing. But not really. But kind of. Definitely kind of. Same. Like, you could find Arctic conditions down that Vancouver. You just have to go high. There's some big-ass mountains, north of Vancouver. I mean, I think that the biggest one in Canada is just north of Vancouver, isn't it? And you never hear anybody talk about that. That's really odd. Seriously big-ass mountains. Like, I would think that somebody would think about putting in a ski thing there. Because you could probably find, like, just any condition imaginable on a big mountain. And you get varied conditions. Varying conditions for different times of year or whatever. So who knows? I don't know. But somebody must know. Like you never even hear anybody go on an expedition. bet it's the weather. I bet the weather just sucks. I bet there's just mountains and mountains and mountains of snow and really dark and sometimes very rainy and snowy at the same time. I bet that's why. I bet that's why nobody goes there. I bet that's what it is. So the lights are starting to come up a bit. Can't see my bus. But this is TransLink. TransLink does not make a mistake. TransLink is so incredible. I just want to say thank you, TransLink. I really do. I mean, why not? They're on time. And they're, I would say, like sort of advanced buses. That's an advanced bus. It's an articulated bus. It's like riding around in a living room. Yeah, I mean, it kind of is. It's more like riding around in a living room than a non-articulated because there's no wheels in the middle. So it bends. Yeah, it bends like a soft bed. It doesn't really. But a bit. Okay, so there's two sets of wheels in the front half of the bus and only one in the back. So there is a wheel there. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Can you forgive me? Here's a nice one. Yeah, it's so nice. And it seems like more and more, I see more because, like, there are racial issues between Chinese people and Indian people that don't have anything to do with us. Don't have anything to do with me. And perhaps it's because I'm a pervert, but what interests me is when to see men and women happy with one another. I love to see that. I really do. And you don't see many matching pairings between Chinese and Indian. The Blanchkisher. I tried to show off there and my tongue literally tripped over itself. Nomenclature. Yeah, it's because my tongue is like so dry, Let me spit. Yeah, but there's a Chinese girl and an Indian guy. That's pretty nice. They look really, really, really happy together. That's the thing. I like to see people look happy. I do. I just like that. It's nice too that I've gotten so old that I'm not jealous. Or maybe I'm not jealous because I have a really affectionate wife. That's probably why I'm not, because my wife is she likes me a lot. So, that's good. I don't feel, maybe that's why I don't feel jealous. You never know, Joe. You never know. But we gotta get rid of these blackberry bushes for sure, because they're choking up the place, killing a lot of natural stuff. Like, I don't know what this would be if it wasn't blackberries. And maybe we could keep some blackberries. But a lot of places they have to go, so why can't we contract that out? And it doesn't have to be a government thing. Like, I bet there's guys around here that can take it out. You'd have to have quite a few houses pitch in $50 each and then give it to a contractor to see what he can do. But the thing is he can't do it and really screw up the environment. Like, it can't wind up being like washed out scar on the land. That it definitely can't do. We just want grass. Like this. Okay, let's check out the grass. But if we do that, right, that's the bus. Gus, get on the bus, Gus. Just listen to me. just listen to me. Yeah, I love this place. It feels expansive. And I think that it feels different to be on the mainland to being on Vancouver Island. There's just a different... Well, there are differences in size. Just the size of features. Which isn't to say that if you put me in either place without having ever been there before, I would have a clue. Because probably a lot of places you wouldn't have a clue which was on the mainland or not. But I don't know, it's just a feeling. I think the feeling comes from